Hello there. Right now in Talking Music, I've had a delivery, and I do not actually know what it is today. But I'm going to unbox it now. Any guesses? So, da, 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 da. Look at this. Now, any Chas and Dave fans out there, you are going to love this. Chas and Dave Wallop by Peter Checksfield there. I love the artwork on the front, but if the artwork on the front's good, I've just spotted the back. Look at that. Absolutely brilliant. It's all the music, 1970 to 2018. I cannot wait to go through this. So look at that picture there on the back. Peter there with Chas Hodges. That's a great picture. Love that. So we're going to hear from Peter now in an interview, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on the book. Let's do this. So right now, author of this absolutely fantastic book, Chas and Dave Wallop, an author of over 20 books. It's a delight to have author Peter Checksfield on the line. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Chris.
Do you know what? Let's start with it. So you've written more than 20 books all about music. How did the idea for Chas and Dave come about, Peter?
Most of my books have been about 60s groups, swinging blue jeans, hollies, tremolos, searchers, those kind of things. But I was born in 63, so I was 16 when Chas and Dave first come out. And Chas and Dave were really the only contemporary act I really liked. I wasn't really into the new wave and the new romantic stuff. And I just always loved them. But I don't know, just listening to them a few months back and thought, oh, let's try it, let's do it. So
No,
it, it,
that is a good answer. I mean, this book has made me realise just how many gaps I have in my collection, either vinyl or CD. Which were the hardest songs for you to find when doing this research?
A few B sides. There's a few B sides here and there that haven't been reissued on CD and all that. So I've those really, yeah, and a few radio tracks, things like that. So
And you mentioned the period in the 80s that I'd agree with you that they were at their commercial peak. I'd say that Mustn't Grumble was perhaps their. I love that album from start to finish. But what for you would you say? Hey, love, I've got it in vinyl as well. What would you say is your favorite album, Peter?
um, yeah, mustn't grumble. Job lot. Well pleased. I love well pleased. This one here. Uh,
Great album.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There in your eyes. Did I feel false? Where am I going to find you? I wonder in whose arms. Not such bigger hits, but I don't know. They just progress a bit, and they introduced a horn section on some, and they diversified. It wasn't just sort of stroke comedy songs. I just think it's a fantastic album. It's always
It's
blown me away.
It's a great album, and there's so many different releases. I mean, if people were trying to discover Chas and Dave, you've got the EMI 3 CD set, you've got the Rockney set, you've got the Demon set, but they've all got different things on that
Oh
you'd have
yeah,
to buy them all, wouldn't you?
that's the best place to start. It really is. This box set. It's got all the main studio albums. It hasn't got like the Jamboree albums or the live albums or the Christmas albums. But this year, I think, come out 2019, and it's yeah, they're nine main albums and a CD of rarities, some great rarities. Yeah, so that's the place to start. If you want more than just the greatest hits, yeah, get this one
Do you know
definitely.
what? I had the Rockney box years ago, and I don't know why I sold it. So I'm looking at buying that again. But then I found him a cover this morning that I'd forgot I had. You had random ones like this, Double Bubble, which had a
Yeah, I
greatest hits
know.
and a Christmas Knees Up Jamboree Volume 2. Quite
I
randomly with it.
know. Yeah. They've been
Random assortment
reissued
on
and
that.
repackaged many times. A lot of these things, yeah. So
Absolutely. And also the back, what I love as well is and must have took ages, you've compiled a very extensive list of the TV appearances. I mean, there's so many
yeah.
shows that they appeared on, Peter.
Well, I got my first VHS recorder when in 1981 when I was 18. Literally the day I 18 because there was £500 then, and I was taking home about 80 on hire purchase when I was 18. And since then, yeah, whenever they came on, certainly throughout the 80s into the 90s, whenever Chas and Dave were on, I'd be sitting there ready. So a lot of these, I actually own a lot of these. They're very dodgy old VHS tapes, but yeah, I'm a real fan.
And obviously, there was the kind of the exclusive to video specials as well. But alongside them, what do you think is their best TV performance that you perhaps recorded over the years?
Oh God, that is so difficult. I really like actually, and I didn't record it, but it's not just another Beano. It's a live album and
Yeah.
DVD from 2016. You know, just 2 years before Chas Hodges died. And the set list is unbelievable, and they are really on form there. They're fantastic. I mean, they was in their 70s then, Chas and Dave, and they was as good as when they was in their 30s. They absolutely fantastic,
And
really.
it's got a DVD with that one as well, hasn't it? Because it's on my
Yes,
watch
it
list on
has.
eBay at
Yeah,
the minute, actually.
that's correct. A double CD and a DVD. Yeah, yeah.
Touching on the TV series, though, I mean, I've seen a clip where they're playing with Lonnie Donegan on Knees Up, but obviously the Christmas Knees Up. I go back to year in, year out. What a show that was,
Oh yeah,
1982.
fantastic. Yeah, yeah. With Eric Clapton, Albert Lee, yeah, and people like that. And yeah, I've got the 6 part Knees Up series from the following year. Yeah, Lonnie Donegan was fantastic on it, but it had Lulu. Trying to think, Mike Berry, the late Mike Berry. Trying to think who else, Linda Lewis, who died quite recently. Yeah, they're great shows. They really are.
Do you know what? Joking aside, I actually because I know Talking Pictures have been repeating Wheel Tappers and Shunters, and I've said I actually said to him, "This would be great. This has never been repeated since its original airing," and I think Knees Up would go quite well down. I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, when I was writing this book, I rewatched virtually everything, some for the first time in years, and they hold up. It's just good entertainment. It really is.
No, I agree. I agree. And I mean, until I read your book, I really wasn't aware of the early work. And you've got a really extensive part now, which I think is absolutely brilliant. For example, I didn't know about Heads, Hands, and Feet. I didn't know about Country Pie, the kind of the album they call themselves there, and
Yeah.
Oily Rags. But again, probably that their kind of releases are all over the place as well, aren't they?
Oh, they are. They're hard to find. There was a CD collection, a double CD collection some years back, but it's very hard to find. And that collected all the Orly Rags and Black Claw and Country Pie. But Heads, Hands and Feet was a separate band. That was Chaz's band with Albert Lee. That didn't include Dave, and I haven't really covered that too much.
It's still like you say at the start though, when you're describing Oily Rags and Country Pie, and it's that pre-Rockney sound, if you like, and you're going through the tracks. I think is really good and certainly interesting for me to read about songs I've not listened to yet.
Yeah, the biggest surprise on Orly Rags, this was 1974, a year before they started recording as Chas and Dave. And it's just sort of developing their Cockney accents, singing in their own accents. Because Country Pie from 1970, I mean, Chas Hodges sounds like Jerry Lee Lewis. It's American. And but what happened was, I think it was about 1972, he was on tour in America with Heads, Hands and Feet. And he felt such a fake singing in a fake American accent to Americans. And that's when he decided, right, I'm going to pursue this. But Ollie Rag sees him getting in that direction. But the interesting track on that for me is Boiled Beef and Carrots. I mean, yeah, it's a typical Harry Champion knees up song, but they do it as a slow country ballad with steel guitar. It's incredible. It's worth hearing just for that, the Ollie Rags album.
Well, speaking about strange kind of interpretations that you wouldn't expect, I love the bit in your book where you mention over Tori Amos recording 2 tracks from Job Lot. I mean, that is not what you expect. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I like. And London Girls, they was I think sometimes in the mid 90s, she did them for B sides, yeah, various exclusive B sides. And I did write to her, whether she got the email or not, I don't know, through her management, and asked if she actually owned a copy of Job Lot. That's where she got them. But they're worth hearing. They're sensational.
Do you
And
know what?
Chas Hodges,
I
I
have
know
listened
Chas
to
Hodges
them.
loved them.
They're very slow, very slow. I mean, I've listened to
They
them
are.
and really kind of, I mean, obviously I prefer Chas and Dave's versions, but they're very different interpretations. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's reinterpreted them in her own style. And
It,
I
it,
actually love them. I really
it's
do.
all there. It's all there in the book. Now,
Yeah.
there was a lot of medleys. There's no denying that in the 80s. And as I say, even this week I've had the Jamboree bag number 2 on. But do you think perhaps it kind of affected the reputation in the 80s with these medley releases? Because people probably people probably didn't get to discover Well Pleased and Flying because of the medleys and kind of those releases. What do you think?
Yeah, that's very true. The knees up medleys. I mean, they were more successful. They got higher in the charts than Job Lot and Well Pleased and Mustn't Grumble, which is a shame. In Chas Hodges' book, it's called All About Us, and he says the one single he regretted releasing was The Stars Over 45, which was the medley. And he said they recorded it as a joke and it would have made a good B-side, but then they did it and it was a big hit. And then there was pressure to bring out an album, then another album, then another album. But yeah, I don't listen to them very often, but I was speaking, well, via email to Chas Hodges' son, Nick Hodges, who later played drums for Chas and Dave after Mickey Burt died. But that's another story. But anyway, and I said about that, and he said, as he always told his dad, that's the first Chas and Dave stuff that he liked. He was just a kid at the time, and also Pete Doherty, he really got into it. So yeah, it had its place, yeah.
Would you know what? And I think it still does has its place because it's got kind of music hall songs and bits of songs that you would not even hear of now, and they kind of survive through those interpretations, don't they?
Oh yeah, I mean, even when it came out 40 odd years ago, yeah, they were so obscure. Some of these.
Yeah.
I remember I lived with my grandmother at the time. I'd play them some of these. We live in South London, just across the river, so but pretty much the same sort of stuff. But some she knew, and some she'd say, "Oh, I don't know this one." Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And obviously, well, I should touch on it very, very quickly. You on the back, you met Chas there in 1992, didn't you? Where was that? Tell us a little bit about that.
I met him several times. I know I went to many concerts. I saw him a good dozen times over the years throughout the 80s until a couple of years before Chas died. But I never actually met him at concerts. I'm a big Jerry Lee Lewis fan, and I saw Chas and Dave there. And but then well, there's two really nice times I met Chas Hodges in 1992. That was backstage at the NEC in Birmingham, and we were both there to see Jerry Lee Lewis and Little Richard, and he was
Oh,
backstage.
wow.
But that particular day as well, not only did I meet him and have my photograph taken with him, both Page and Plant were there separately because apparently they weren't speaking at the time, and I posed with both of them. So it was more stars backstage and on stage. It was unbelievable.
That's brilliant.
Oh, it was, yeah. But then there was another time. Fast forward quite a few years later to about 2010, I believe it was 2009, 2010. During that time, I was a doorman at Margate Winter Gardens, doorman stroke usher, and I got talking to Chas Hodges. I just got in. I didn't expect him to be there. Yeah. He was just about to do the sound check, and I was just going downstairs, and there was Chas. He said, "Hello, mate. I'm Chas. Any chance of a cup of tea?" Yeah, so I'll do a cup of tea. Then he was talking all about music and all that, and he knew that I loved Jerry Lee Lewis. And for the first set, this is without Dave. Dave wasn't with him. Chas, Mickey Burt, and I can't remember the bass player, Darren Juniper. But anyway, for the first set, apart from the last song, it was nothing but Jerry Lee Lewis songs. Whether he planned that or it was because he was chatting to me, and a lot of the audience was sort of half amused. What's he doing all these for? But you can tell Chas was in seventh heaven, and so was I. I was walking around with a big grin for days afterwards, like an idiot. So.
Back to the just back to the medleys briefly because
Yeah.
by the mid 90s it was almost as if they were kind of just accepting that the medley market was there. There was the street party release, the rock and roll medley release as well. Did that surprise you a bit? I suppose it kept the name out there though at that time, didn't it?
It did, yeah. I mean, after the album Flying, which was a pretty good album in 1987, they pretty much stopped doing proper albums. They was all just, the odd live album and the odd VHS tape at the time or DVD, and and the medleys. And it wasn't really that they did the odd things here and there, but it wasn't really till 2013, and they did
That's what happens.
That's what happens. Yeah, that's the one. Here it is. Yeah. A great album. Not much piano in it. There's a lot of acoustic guitar, a lot of sort of skiffle type songs, but a fantastic album. And that really got them back in the limelight again.
Do you know what? I have to agree, Peter. I mean, you've got Railroad Bill on there. You've got a brilliant version of All by Myself. I think Hugh Laurie's on piano on that. I mean, it's just a
Hugh
great,
Laurie and Jules
fun
Holland.
record.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think Jules Holland's on there as well, isn't
That's
he?
right, Jules Hanyu. Yeah, yeah,
It's a
yeah.
great. There's a behind the scenes, I think, on YouTube, but it's a brilliant album. I do love it.
It really is. Yeah, and that's when people there'd been a bit of a comeback for a few years before that because I said Pete Doherty got into them and people like that, and Jules Holland was championing them. But that album, yeah, the that's what happens. Really got them back into limelight, and even more so than in the 80s in some ways. For instance, The Guardian did a big feature on them, and they did a special session for the online of The Guardian. There's no way The Guardian would have praised Chas and Dave when they were singing Margate and Gurja, yeah, so, which I think was fantastic. So, yeah.
I mean, and touching on the kind of the final album, just whilst we mentioned that's what happens. A little bit of us. I think is a great. I mean, we didn't know it was going to be the finale, but
No.
Come On Charlie, and I wonder where he is now amongst probably my favourites. But it
Oh,
was a
yeah.
great swan song, I thought.
Oh, definitely. Oh, it's a fantastic album. It really, really is. Yeah. If push comes to shove, yeah. If I had to choose my top three Chas and Dave albums, that would be there. Yeah, it would be up there with Well Please and perhaps Mustn't Grumble or Job Lot. But it is a fantastic album. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no, I have to. I absolutely agree. And tell us a little bit more about because this was fascinating when I was reading your book. There was a an album that I'd never heard of called "You're Never Too Old to Rock and Roll." I think it was 2000, and you write about the songs that's on there, but it's not mentioned in Chaz's autobiography either. Tell us a little bit more about that album.
Yeah, it's not mentioned on Chaz's biography. It's not mentioned on the official Chas and Dave website. It's not in that box set of albums, which it was it come out in 2000 and they did 12 songs and a bonus interview that was released in America. They was trying to push it in America at the time, and it's all live in the studio stuff. Mostly covers, but it sounds like like the Sun Studio. It's really good, but in the UK, they did a 20 song version, and it was only available very briefly at the gigs at the time. I haven't even got a copy. I've only got the MP3s of the full version, but I've spoken to other fans, and they got it. I think they was gigging at the Dominion Theatre or something like that at the time, and they were sending it. And then it was quickly withdrawn, and it's all been very quiet since. So I don't know if there's a rights problem or they didn't like it or what, but yeah, it's well worth hearing. There's some really good stuff on it. Yeah,
Well, again, I've seen it. I've seen it on eBay, and there's like you say, there's a version probably with not, like you say, not all the tracks that they had.
yeah.
On the. I'll keep an eye though to see if I can find it a reasonable price because it's not doesn't go for the cheapest, does it?
It doesn't. No, 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 no.
There was also a bit of a strange time because I've got one of the vinyl records. There was the Tottenham songs as well as the medleys,
Oh
which you have an
yeah.
extensive list of. But now I like Tottenham, and when the year ends in one, but I did not realise how many, Peter. I have to admit till you went through them all.
Yeah, five or six. I can't remember then. I must admit, I quite like them as well. But I've never. I mean, I grew up in South London, and everyone in my school, they love Millwall and all that. I've never watched a football match in my life. I can't stand football. It was just music, music, music to me. Whether it was the Dave Clark Five when apparently I was stomping around in my nappy to them, so and so forth, and so I'm probably slightly biased, because I don't like football. I'm not particularly into them, but they're good fun. They're good
But
entertainment.
what was interesting though was that because you mentioned in the book that Dave was more the Tottenham fan because Chaz used to watch football, but then music took over his life, didn't it?
Yeah, he mentioned in his book when it was their manager's idea, Bob England at the time, and he suggested, do a Spurs song, and Chaz said he actually asked Dave because he hadn't seen them since 1955. As soon as he heard Lonnie Donegan in 1956, it was music, and and even later when there was big football matches, Chaz was more into gigging or recording or whatever. That was his life. It really was. So
And as we should say, as well as the duos material, you've got the list of all Chas Hodges's solo work. When Dave didn't want to record anymore, and there was a song I'd forgot completely about, and until you book it, it was it was quite a recent one. Got my ticket for the darts, which I'd completely forgot about, but a
Yeah,
fun song.
yeah, that's right. Got to number 20 in the download charts, I believe. So yeah, so biggest hit in years. But yeah, yeah, he did about four or five solo albums. Chas Hodges. Yeah, they're worth seeking out. There's a live album. He recorded at the time. This, like you say, it's when Dave dropped out for a while, and he does a version of Margate, but live at the Cavern, and calls it Bootle. Down to Bootle. Yeah, it's hilarious. It's fantastic. It really is.
Oh, those. I mean, I like I listened to there's there was a release after he died, wasn't there? And it's got a great Christmas track on it, people, which Magic Time of Christmas, which is absolutely
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah, that right at home, the album. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, it tends to be overlooked, and it's quite touching in a way. The closing song on that is just a gentle acoustic version of the Beatles' "I'm So Tired," and it is quite poignant knowing that's one of the last things he would have recorded. So,
Oh no, it's like you say, people should definitely go and
oh
check that
yeah.
out. We should ask as well. What you've done 20 books so far, we should say, Peter. I think you probably average about one every 3 months. What books have you got planned for 2025, 26 coming up?
Oh, God knows. I'm looking at the animals, possibly.
Oh wow.
Maybe Mud. I'd like to do something from the 70s. Maybe Mud. I quite like Mud. Yeah. So yeah. So and maybe even Lulu. It's about time I did a female. I mean, the
You,
possibilities are endless. So
you know what? Mud had a long career that people always think, like you say, Tiger Feet, but then a long career. I think they were still going into the 80s, weren't they, Mud?
yeah, certainly Les Gray was. Yeah, because
Yeah.
he put his own lineup together later. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A really good group. Just fun. You know, it might not be arty like I don't know Roxy Music. I'm not putting any others out there, Roxy Music or David Bowie, but it's yeah, just good entertainment. Great fun. Yeah.
And like you say, which has been um obviously we'll exclude Chas and Dave, so you're safe from this one, but which was the most fun project to compile as a book so far that you've done? Because you've done Top of the Pops, you've done ones on Cliff Richard. Which would you say it was the most enjoyable to do?
Not necessarily the most enjoyable. This was probably the most enjoyable because so much good music. But the one I'm probably most proud of because I got some really good exclusive interviews and there's lots of interviews. In my book on the tremolos, I mean, Rick West, who's retired years ago, and Brian Paul, yeah, I got exclusive interviews and a few others. And I've actually been looking at it this morning because I thought it's time to update it a little bit. But yeah, but my tremolos one, you know, if I have to hold a book up and say, you know, this is my best writing. Yeah, it's probably that. Yeah.
And we should mention the Top of the Pops ones because I know there's a lot of fans out there.
Yeah.
You've done two novels. You've done one which kind of goes up to, I think it's 64 to 75, and then 76, was it to 86? Is that right?
86. Yeah. Yeah. God, the amount of emails and comments I've got. Do a third one. Do a third one. I really enjoyed doing the first one, but the second one, but I could just about tolerate some of the new romantic stuff, but once that started going and into dance music, I just found that a bit hard, and I don't think I could. It's in me to do a third one. So
Oh no, maybe you should. Maybe you should. I mean, I should ask as well. Obviously, there were some issues, episodes missing around early 76. But did you
yeah,
literally go through them all and revisit them all?
absolutely. And there's screenshots of every show that survives in those books. Yeah, they're my best-selling books. Yeah, yeah, by far. So yeah, and I'm pleased with them. Yeah, I
Do you know
got some
what? I mean,
good
I watched the
interviews as well.
BBC Four repeats from when they started at 76, probably till I'd say early 80s, so I can understand that. And I thought it was a great spell for music, and I really enjoyed watching them. And like you say, some performances that some artists that you didn't expect to see, and yeah, I thought
Yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got some pretty good interviews as well out of that, usually just by email. But people like Susie Quattro, trying to think who else, Steve Harley, the late Steve Harley, people like that. So Dave Bartram of Shabuddy Buddy, he wrote a really long piece for one of my Top of the Pops books. So yeah, I'm really pleased with them. Yeah, so yeah.
Well, two final Chas and Dave points before we go. You've got some lovely
Yeah.
intros at the start. We should mention Sally James from Tiswas, Richard Digans, Jim Davidson all make lovely notes for you at the start, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Jim Davison, he's got a bit of a reputation, as you know, but I wrote to him and it was late at night. First thing the next morning, it must have been at 8 o'clock, and he wrote, that thing about Chas and Dave. And I love the fact that both Richard Dysons and Jim Davison ended it. I love them, or I love them. Yeah, which is fantastic. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, and I got to say this as well. Yeah, I'm not going to name names, but doing these other books, I talk to other musicians or other promoters or whatever, and not all of them are particularly nice people. Sort of thing. Some are,
Yeah.
some are great, but I never ever heard a bad comment about Chas and Dave from anyone. They're really genuinely lovely people.
And finishing on the top of the Pops connection, I love the story because you can find it on the Chas and Dave official YouTube channel to watch this. But Gertcha, they were playing it live and they had to edit themselves, didn't they?
They wasn't allowed to say cow son. He actually did it 3 times, and I watched them all when I was writing this book. There was 3 appearances of Gurcha on Top of the Pops, and every time he sneaks in the odd cow son, whether it's on purpose or what. He just supposed to go Gurcha, and then just a pause, but then he goes Gurcha cow son. Yes, they're hilarious. They're worth seeing. Yeah.
But it was. I mean, I think it was the show's producer's mum said it used to be a really offensive word or something like, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, apparently it's an old, Victorian or Edwardian,
Yeah.
swear word, which, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm not quite sure what Ofcom would think of it now, but
well,
yeah. Uh,
but the thing is, he got away with saying it on Tiswas, and Swap Shop and people like that. But the Top of the Pops, because of the producer's mother, he had to censor it. So
Oh my goodness. Well, I tell you
yeah,
what, an absolutely brilliant book, Peter. There it is. We'll hold it up again for the YouTube viewers. Chas and Dave Wallop. Peter, you've done them absolutely proud. Thank
thank
you
you,
for. Oh,
Chris.
a quick question. How can people find out more about your books? What's the easiest way to look at all the titles you've done and purchase them?
Well, they're all on Amazon. Yeah, they're the biggest bookstore in the world. But just Google my name, Peter Checksfield, and you'll see all of them there. And if you don't use Amazon, yeah, just drop me a line and I'll sort something out. So,
And we'll put a link on the bottom as well. We will do.
and
So, Peter, for our radio listeners out there, which songs can we play from Chas and Dave from their massive back catalogue for you?
well, Wallop, that's the obvious one because it's the title of my book. But it's a good
Absolutely.
song from Mustn't Grumble. Uh, I wonder where he is now. It's from the last album. We mentioned it earlier, and it's probably not very jolly for Christmas Day, but it's a lovely song. It's a beautiful song. I love it.
Do you know, I don't mind it's not Jolly for Christmas Day. It's a great song. It's a brilliant song. I mean, you know what, Peter, let's get them on.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chris. I've
All right,
enjoyed it.
take care.
Take care. And
All right,
you.
bye.
Bye.
So my thanks to Peter Checksfield. Absolutely brilliant book. There it is. Wallop, the music, 1970 to 2018. And it really, genuinely has inspired me because I had the Rockney box set on CD and I don't know why I got rid of it, but I did. I went through a phase of getting rid of my CDs, thinking I wouldn't listen to them. And now I've gone back to CDs. I listen to CD over any other format, more than vinyl, more than streaming. It's CDs for me. So I've been going back and buying different Chas and Dave releases. There is the Chas and Dave Giving It That, the Demon release, which is a bit expensive at the moment, and it's got all the studio albums on. I've not bought that yet, nor have I repurchased the Rockney box set. But I will tell you what I've got so far. I've got Double Bubble, which has got Greatest Hits and Jamboree Bag 2. There's also an Enjoy Yourself box set of the Jamboree releases. I noticed I might try and get that one next. But I've also got that's what happens. Brilliant album. We will review these in separate videos. A Little Bit of Us, brilliant final album. And then this, I've got this one here. Forgot about this one. Not Just Another Beano I've picked up, which is fantastic. Got a brilliant 2 CD set and a DVD live in Hammersmith. And then the last one I bought was this Gertrude, the EMI Years, which again is brilliant. The first 2 albums, live at Abbey Road as well, B-sides, songs are never before released on CD. So, Peter, you genuinely have inspired me to stock up on my Chas and Dave collection again. And all of them have been bought since I did the interview with you. So, there you go. So, don't forget to check out Peter's book. Thanks once again, and don't forget to like and subscribe and more interviews on this very channel and loads of different music reviews as well. Something for everyone. See you soon. Bye-bye.